hopefully everyone can hear me fine. Just give me a second. Oh, that was annoying. Yep. That off real quick. There we go. Last time we got some dapper clothes and got the whole truth. God. And now, hopefully, for the love of fucking God and everything else, shove Shionne and Alphen together, because there's no reason at this point that they shouldn't be. It stings still. Okay, I can't fast travel yet. Fine. Look how bloody good this guy looks in his clothes. To be fair, I really like Shionne's dress. But yeah, it has been a while, and it is a shame, but it just simply is what it be now. Is there anything I can make? Yes, there is. The best one, which I've already got. I haven't got this though. Yes. Gun. Sure. Yeah, no, that clothes.
Have you guys checked your equipment lately?
Game? I just got stuck then. Oh god, I need to heal. Fine. I just want to see the realm of darkness in this game.
That came out great.
Him just cooking in those clothes just gets a massive amount of like grease patch all over the white section. It's like, oh damn it. Roasting that chicken just spills a bunch of oil on himself. It's like, yeah, good job. Oh yeah, and he's also got the blazing sword, so he didn't deep fried. I think I'm going the right way. Yeah, residential zone. I'm gonna have to go out that way. Sorry that it's been so long since I last streamed. It really wasn't the intention for it to take so long to get back to it, though tomorrow I won't be able to stream, so if we don't make it to the end today, which, to be fair, I doubt's gonna happen. I'm assuming that this has to be the last area, but that doesn't mean that the final boss is going to happen today. Because I can't think of any other location that, you know, a final boss could even be. I need to remember locations in this damn area. Okay, no, I am going the right way. Good. All good. It sucks that they steal fast travel from me because they're just like, yeah, you don't need that. It's not like you know, you don't want to run around the map. No, why wouldn't you want that? Residential Zone 16, the jump in number. Let me out of this place. I have a new dimension to visit. By dimension, I mean hell. Because that seems to be where I'm going. By the way, have you tried out the new instrument in Genshin? The new instrument, I've tried out the music quest, but I haven't got the instrument itself, because you don't get it until like the last part of the music quest. So, technically no. Look how good Shionne looks. Damn. I kind of wish her hair was down.
Lenegis, but we just ended up finding more questions.
No, that's fine.
You can say that again. And now we have more problems to fix too. Like figuring out how to reform Lenegis.
That can wait for now. We've got more than enough on our plates to deal with as it is. Like figuring out who's really running the show on Rena.
I know it's just a world. It was just a comment.
Which is why we're going to the Renan homeworld.
You could just say Rena.
All the answers we've been looking for are on that planet. The person responsible for all this, the Red Woman, and the Renaissance. The answers have to be there. Are we prepared to finally find them?
Duh. Like you need to even bloody ask.
What do we do first when we get there?
We know
No.
nothing about the Renan homeworld or what we might face once we arrive. We should get a feel for how things are on the ground before we take any serious steps.
It's also entirely possible that the first thing we're going to face is an attack.
If we come across a capital, we should... What?
Oh, whoa. A high demon? Okay, maybe not. I wondered why the hell Rinwell was screaming for a second there. Now, yeah, fair, valid point. What the hell are you doing? Get off of my ship. I need this. I got really confused, like, Runwell, why the hell are you screwed? It's like, okay, never mind. That's a valid reason to scream. That's completely fair. So they died at the end. Right. That's the end of the game. We just got warped.
Damn! The hell just happened?
We got warped.
Our course has
By
been altered.
demons.
The coordinates are pointing to a different destination.
What's that?
We're gonna die on this ship.
The ship's controls aren't accepting my commands. The engine is being shut down.
Those are some
That's
awfully
bad,
specific
right?
controls, right?
Quite bad. We've lost control of the ship.
Is all of this the Red Women's doing?
Okay, never
Are
mind.
they
We
trying
might
to
not be
finish
going
us
to
off
Rena.
before we can land?
Everyone! Look there!
Show me then. Okay, thank you for showing me. Very pretty. Wait a minute, what? It's a horse. Looks like an apple core. Yeah, no wonder there's no people living there. Jesus Christ. Well, this bodes wonderfully. So what's that gonna do? Oh? Just went straight through. And that's a giant flower. Zero, is that you? Whoa, that's actually really pretty. Yeah, that's really pretty. Damn.
A flower blooming out of Rena?
But that flower looks like it's absorbing all of Dana's energy.
And it appears Lenegis is serving as a conduit for that energy to reach here. Could that have been its true purpose all along?
If that's true, do you think the people back on Lenegis are all right?
We can only pray that they are.
The moment a song comes
Damn
from
it.
that flower, we're
We've taken
fucked.
enough already. When is this going to end?
The flower of oblivion.
What surrounds roses, thorns.
With everything that's happening, we need to get back to Lenegis.
Symbolism,
Is the ship still
wonderful.
offline?
Yay.
Unfortunately, yes. Even more so than when it lay dormant.
Can you fix it?
Starships are extremely complex machines.
Kick it.
One wrong move while we're out here in space could very well cost us our lives.
Just turn it off and on again.
So
That
what?
works for 90%
We're just
of
stuck
computers.
inside here floating around? For how long?
Turn it off and on.
This. We've made it all this way, and now we're stuck here? We're watching Dana die before our eyes, and we have no choice but to sit here and starve to death?
Law, calm down. You're not the only one who's worried here.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah, forgive. It said
It's still
turn it
too
off and on
early to
again.
give up. There has to be a way to get out of this.
Alphen.
Now what?
The starship, it's back online?
No, this is different. Something is pulling our ship in towards it.
Are we literally gonna be black holed? Where's the black hole? What's around? What monster? Whatever. Okay. How do I even describe that thing? Oh no, duh.
We managed to
connection.
get moving, but where are we?
It looks like Lenegis in here.
Do you think we might run into more Renans here? Or those red women?
Could be either.
Perhaps. Someone brought us here. The question is, who?
We haven't been ambushed, so that probably means they aren't hostile. Still, why would anyone want to bring us here?
No, she's just going for it.
Shionne!
Why not?
If they wanted to attack us, they could have done so while we were back on the starship. We should see where this path takes us.
I want to know the fabulous bird that gave Shionne's outfit those feathers. They glow and everything. They're very pretty. If they were white and red, I would say fou-hua, but because they're completely different color, I can't. Average. And hey,
Shionne,
welcome.
just in the nick of time. Here, lend me a hand while I...
No!
What the...
Touch her.
Oh, right. The thorns. My bad.
No, I'm the one who should apologize. I overreacted.
Again, Law? Can't you even go a minute without putting your foot in your mouth?
Seriously, it's fine. I'd rather that than people feeling like they're walking on eggshells around me. Besides,
No.
I'm the one who should be vigilant about not touching you guys, not the other way around.
Actually, I've been meaning to ask. Not being able to touch people. Does it ever get lonely sometimes?
Probably.
I guess I never really thought about it in those terms. It was either accept it for what it was or come undone. Before long, it was just part of my everyday reality. I think I even forgot there was another way to live. Which isn't to say I didn't feel alone. I did. Always.
So numb to your reality, you couldn't even recognize it as loneliness? I don't know how you
Oh,
managed.
oh, look.
It's fine. I know I'm not alone anymore.
Alphen,
But
for fuck's sake, confess.
I can't even touch you. No way of lending you a shoulder when you're down? Even Alphen.
Especially Alphen.
I appreciate the concern. Until I get rid of these thorns, I guess I'll have to put up with it just a little longer. But not forever. Alphen promised me that. Maybe it'll be soon, maybe it won't be. But either way, the day will come. And I'll be ready when it does.
No.
Yeah, just hang in there. One day, we'll share a big warm hug. You'll see.
That's
I promise.
cute. That's a cute promise. Aww. What? What's up with you?
Boo!
Ah, what the? Are you out of your mind? This isn't the time for games, Rinwell.
Oh, come on. How am I supposed to resist with you looking all jittery like that?
The little
It's
troll.
called experiencing feelings appropriate to the situation. You ought to try it sometime.
Yeah, but seeing you act all nervous, you're making me start to feel nervous too.
Oh, sorry.
Staying alert is important, but too much caution can cloud your judgment. Try to strike a balance.
I don't think there's a healthy balance when we all can potentially die.
I still can't get over what we saw happening outside the starship.
Apple
Yeah.
Core Planet.
Our planet's really not doing too hot right about now.
The other one's fucked. Who cares about our
I've only ever
planet?
seen Rena from the surface of Dana, so I figured it was just another round planet like ours. Still though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that. And what's the deal with that giant flower coming out of it?
Beats me. I have absolutely no clue. It's so surreal. It looks like a broken egg or something.
Rena and Dana. We were taught that both worlds were spherical bodies that floated amongst the stars in the heavens. But to think that they lied to us not only about the Sovereign and the Crown contest, but also the form of our own planet.
Dohalim.
Okay, who's the wise guy that summoned us here?
Someone formidable enough to bring our starship along with us.
They must be here somewhere. Let's find them.
Keeping calm.
That beam of light joining Dana and Rena. It was the Renan side that it first came from, right?
That's what it looked like. And then the Danon side responded.
Perhaps it was some kind of directive from the Renan homeworld? To reawaken the Wedge and Lenegis?
Which would mean that whoever's behind all this is on Rena after all. But what are they after? Is it really worth going through all this trouble just to steal Dana's energy?
Renan looks
Try
fucked,
to
of
stay
course
calm.
it is.
With so many factors we don't understand, dwelling on it won't get us anywhere. What is it?
No, it's just... Zephyr once told me the same thing. So much for me making progress, huh?
You made it this far, didn't you?
Yeah.
You notice something, you change it. That's all anyone can do. But you can't stand still in the meantime.
Hey, I am all for having a ton of skits as long as they're good. I don't care. Okay, there's nothing. Fine. Casual elevator. Doesn't matter where I go. Alright. Yeah, it does. Fine. It's interesting that there's a bunch of plants actually stored here. Sampling. And we know that each of the 3 variants are of different types of flora, so it's implying that being intentionally collected. Why would you need samples though? Doesn't bode fantastically. If there's a storage facility for species, if there's any animals here, then it only gets worse. Oh look, big plant wall. Where was the big tendril plant thing, the root?
This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah,
What's
there
that?
it is. What the hell is that?
It's one of those!
A red woman in disguise. Or is this their true form?
Well,
So
it's
it was
not
a trap?
red. I wanna know what it is.
It doesn't look like it can move. Tell me, are you the one who brought us here?
Okay.
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
What the fuck
You
is
can
going
talk.
on?
What are you?
Hevrect 35.
Heverect.
Hevrect 35. Is that your name?
Correct.
What is this place? No, wait, before that. Just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of red women who can shift into the same form as you.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
What do you mean,
Spirit.
serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way.
That was a casual observation of our bodies.
Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Oh goody, more riddles.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here. Let's at least hear it out.
Explain. I want to know what your brethren even exist
I
for.
shall now answer your
No,
questions.
thank you.
We are Helganquil. The red women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helganquil?
You are on Dake Phasol, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's great spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this great spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Thank you for answers, game.
Correct. The great astral spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
The voice of the great spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it without question throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this great spirit be the true sovereign of Rena?
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this great spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
Maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dana has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of Dana this whole time, just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but
He has
Let's
a
assume
point.
that what Hevrek 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's great spirit.
Ah!
Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The Wedge and Lenegus are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy. And the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana.
Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed, and it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest. Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegis was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Rena Alma.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Rena Alma required a vast amount of energy. That is why we turned to Dana.
So that was the real purpose behind the crown contest. An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
This is all happening because of me.
Hey, if not for you,
Nevertheless,
the place
you
would be
still
fucked.
haven't answered one of Alphen's original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrecht 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
Depends on what it is.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish for you all to slay the Great Spirit.
I'm all for this, yes.
I'm
Deal.
sorry, did you just ask us to kill your master?
Deal.
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might add.
What makes you say that?
Lenegis has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan. As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested en masse and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
Ah.
Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean... you're dying?
At this stage, it would be wise for you to talk with the others.
There are
Ask them what
others?
you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
Others? Just how many of you are there?
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits Dake Faisal.
Hey! Hey!
And what others?
It's no use. I think it's done talking to us. Let's take a look around.
Zoogles? Is this where we're gonna get context? It seems to manage all vital signs. What the hell would be the biology of this thing?
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told us, right? I mean, it's practically blackmailing us into doing its dirty work.
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it.
It hasn't gone that long. Shut up.
Were you able to follow it at all?
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events comes back to astral energy. That being said, had we not previously encountered the will of Dana, I suspect I would find its story much more difficult to believe.
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dana completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that creates and shapes the world.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let it destroy Dana.
Right.
There is one other thing that concerns me. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans? How do they factor into all this?
I'm curious on how the Renans are controlled. Like
now
beyond.
that you mention it, And all that talk, Hevrek 35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on. Maybe the others will shed more light on the matter. Let's find out.
It's like, realistically, if the Renans are from Rena, it's like, I imagine they had to have been born on Lenegus and are following the same sort of example as this, that they were created from samples, because either these are stored samples or they've been created within this area, which either way doesn't bode fantastically, because that means preparation towards the decline of something. But the thing that's intriguing me on this is, if the Renans are connected to the Great Will, then how are they not directly controlled on an instinctual level like the others? Like the Helganquil. I'm assuming that they're the natural species of Rena. Look, even more species. Cacti there. I'm waiting to see if the Zeugles in here in tubes. And if they count. Because that means we've been murdering them en masse. What
Who
the
are they?
fuck?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Bruh.
Are
I
you
hate
a
to
Renan?
say that, but what?
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
I guess so.
The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
What would your subjects be?
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevrek 35 when he mentioned that Overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dana and Rena, do you?
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Hi. Let's have a chat. Load game.
Have you guys lived up here in Dig Faisal with Hevrek 35 for a long time?
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though.
Huh.
We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Okay, that makes sense now.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegus from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility had been destroyed.
And you've been working for Hevrek 35 ever since?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out the Overseer was there all along.
What do you mean?
The Helganquil have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans.
And that's why no one saw
As long
them.
as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Yeah, that makes
Which
sense.
would explain why Shionne and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art of some sort?
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control to get us to do what they wanted without being detected. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lenegus is still run.
But aren't the Helganquil themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in the same way?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquil, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us Renans.
Okay.
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Hevric 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
No.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegis?
Nah.
Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon. You could ride with us.
Screw that.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright.
There we go.
After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold instead. Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further.
Oof.
That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
How long's it got?
Thank you for answering our questions.
I want to know how long the thing's got left. Huh, okay. Next.
Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquil.
You mean the Overseer species? I can't say I know much about them.
Meaning we'll
Well,
have to
for
ask
starters,
him.
where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Oh!
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Danans by the Helganquil.
And that makes sense. There we go.
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
Yeah, there aren't.
There aren't. But there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language. People of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquil are on the verge of extinction, yes? In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Danans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there.
Oh, shit.
That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Danans that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use astral arts on Dana now.
All of them were snatched.
Helganquil technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgeries. They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and...
Enough! You needn't tell us anymore.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquil are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
Does he really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
Are you not seeing the test tubes
Helene.
around containing plant species?
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in the face.
Then let's hope this is our last revelation for a while.
I doubt that. Right. Yes, last revelation. Good luck with that one. Let's have a chat.
Do you know anything about a spirit channeling plan?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective was?
Yes. It was to use Lenegis to siphon off Dana's astral energy and send it to Rena.
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large quantity of astral energy without it becoming sentient. Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dana's energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner! However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied.
Hi there.
The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans in Helganquil that day.
That's fine. Don't worry
For the
about
next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral energy types. To amend that, we set our sights on Dana, and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
And the crown contest began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps. A new Sovereign had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things, it would appear such worries were unfounded.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
Flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dana. As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Hevrecht 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage. Is that true?
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes, and yet here we are. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about to happen.
Nah. This is a good movie
He
we're
talks
watching.
like the potential end of the world is just another day on the job.
Well, it's
You've
not
got
the
to
end of
remember
this
that
world.
these guys have been living alone up here for a long time. Who knows what shape their minds are in?
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down. Is there anything we know that's still true at this point?
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden stuff.
Yeah, thanks, game, for the exposition
Let's take a moment
dump.
to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to say that we've found the answers we've been looking for. Does everyone agree?
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to Rena's great spirit being behind everything.
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of astral energy.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Helganquil. Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Danans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well is likely because they were originally Danans all along.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much, even. We should probably take it easy and rest our minds a bit. Why don't we all take some time to think things over, before we decide on our next move?
That's a good idea, Kisara.
Where would we even go in
If
this
the Renan
hellhole?
Great Spirit really is behind all this, then we've got a really big fight ahead of us.
What are we gonna do?
Because
Fight
it's
in
not
our minds?
just Dana on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure of ourselves. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger, so we should be okay. You sure you don't want to be alone right now?
I could ask you the same question.
Give each other a
I
hug.
figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around and checking up on everybody.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear what's on everyone's minds, too.
Good to know you two are getting on.
Let's go find them.
Good kids. You're probably
Everyone's just gone their own way, huh?
Yeah, let's hit up each spot.
Let's have that chat.
Everything we thought we knew. It was all just a fabrication that the Red Women, that the Helganquil made up.
Right. Assuming we can believe anything that Hevrek 35 has told us, that is.
We don't get anything from,
if the names are anything to go by, it's possible the Helganquil could be behind the fruits of Helgen too.
Yep.
But if Hevrek 35 was telling the truth, and this was all just one massive lie, does that mean everything we've done up until now has been pointless?
No, I don't think so. Or at least I hope not. I think it just means we've lost our foothold for now. That's all.
Really? Well then, if we've lost it, I guess we'll just have to find another. All of us together. And if we can't find one, then we'll make a new one. End of story.
Make one, huh? I see. Right then. Count me in.
Just casual. It's interesting that the Helganquil have been acting basically as shepherds for the entire species. Oh god, there's more. So why do our eyes... Huh. That's one thing I do find interesting. The Renan's eyes glow when they use arts. Meanwhile, in the case of someone like Rinwell, she doesn't. I still want to know what Zeugles are. That's one thing we don't have an actual explanation as to what they are.
You both seem awfully calm.
Only because after everything we've seen, we don't have the energy to keep being shocked.
How are you holding up, Rinwell? That whole talk about the Renans looked like it shook you up a bit.
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Dan and mages like my family were persecuted and died out. And now, I finally know why that is. But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Danans again, then mages won't be such an unusual thing to see on Dana anymore, right?
Pretty much.
I know it's not as simple as all that, but Danans probably won't be so quick to let their guards down. And there might be Renans who still act superior because of their arts.
It wouldn't surprise me. 300 years of bad blood and prejudice isn't going to be an easy thing to overcome.
Yeah. I know firsthand just how much hatred can take hold in your heart once you let it in. But even so, I was still able to change. And if I can change, so can anyone else. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a Danan and a mage to help bring both sides together.
Rinwell.
That great spirit worries me too, though. Dana's will feels so warm and inviting. So why is Rena's will trying to destroy our entire planet?
Now that you mention it, Hevrek 35 and the other scientists here never really brought that up. Maybe they don't know either.
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day, Dan is still our home. There's no way we can let it be destroyed.
We won't. We'll keep it safe no matter what.
I'm just having a peek around. Nothing else there. Meaning it's gonna be up the elevator. The Danans still not given surnames of their own. Ah, it's for subjugation reasons. The thing is, though, the reason surnames exist in the first place isn't really to push people down. Like, the existence of surnames is based on the specialties of what a family does. Like that, I'm pretty sure that's the only reason they came to exist at all. Like, given names have always been a thing, but surnames only exist based on what your family tends to do, because obviously trades were passed down through families. That's why in the UK, for example, Smith is one. What was that family known for? Well, it's in the name. It's the same as giving them a title. But if you're making them a person lack something in comparison to another, like other groups of the same species, then it's bound to make them feel inferior depending on the status between them. And then I guess we'll no longer serve a purpose. I'm not trying to talk to you. Okay. We don't know how long it's gonna take for that thing to die.
I apologize for making you witness that.
You mean hearing the origins of the Renans?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible fade away in mere seconds.
Nah.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here is actually true.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, it's a rather elaborate one.
Exactly.
I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned, Alphen. And you as well, Shionne. About your thorns, and being a maiden.
And the fact she's also
just part of
Renan.
being alive, don't you think?
Well, to say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned for myself. What concerns me is all of the other Renans out there.
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are living on Lenegis or Dana, right?
What other ones could he mean?
Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dana, our problems will still remain. Putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there, we will have to think long and hard about where it is that we wish to return to.
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis or come down to Dana, huh? And right now, Lenegis might not even be a safe option.
And at the same time, Danans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms.
I know, Welkin.
If the issue is forced, things could turn dire. There is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred to overcome between us. And the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to feel animosity towards us Renans. Our own circumstances as the aggressors are irrelevant.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be so down about people reconciling.
It's not confusing.
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck. There had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks. Still, even now, there remain ardent dissidents.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on Lenegis, after this is all over?
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that responsibility. In that regard, I remain determined. On that note, I have something of a favor to ask of you, Alphen.
Oh.
What is it?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator so that the Renans can live on Dana peaceably. As the one and only Blazing Sword, I suspect the Danans may listen to what you have to say when problems arise.
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent the Renans?
Yes. I realize that I'm asking quite a lot of you.
Wouldn't it make more sense if it's
However,
Shionne?
The fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Danan society without any bloodshed. That is why.
Then you can do it politically.
You're the same as ever, Dohalim.
Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking for a favor. Listen, there's no need for that. We're friends.
You're too kind. I can see you were raised well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again, this time just as friends. Alphen, will you help me?
You don't even need to ask. Of course I will.
Good boy.
Thank you, my friend.
Well, let's keep in mind, how do human civilizations normally concrete and cement through their position as allies? Throughout history, normally it was through marriage. Normally it was through marriage. That's why I say that, you know, for logic's sake, Shionne would actually make more sense. Because she is, for one, the maiden, so she is the prime of the created Renans. And here you go, Alphen.
I still can't believe
And it'd be an
man.
example of
You're
coexistence
not
as
the
well.
only one still trying to make sense of all this. Believe me.
Really? You've never struck me as the type of guy to get hung up on these sorts of things.
Did you forget what happened back in Thistleum? Once my memories started coming back to me, I felt completely and totally lost.
It was really that bad for you?
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law and everybody else, I remembered that I still had things out there worth fighting for.
Man, I think you might be a better guy than me, Alphen. All I can remember thinking was, when's this guy gonna get his act together?
Oof. Like you could talk
Whoa.
shit.
I was too worried about repeating the same mistakes I'd made back with my dad, and running away from the truth. That was no way to live, and I've tried to stay strong, my way. But all this talk about other races and the world ending, if I can be honest with you guys, it's just all too much for me to handle right now.
Which
I
is
know
valid.
this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is not to worry too much about the big stuff right now.
Oh?
I used to worry all the time about my thorns, for obvious reasons, but I never really opened up to anyone about them. And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me, I didn't know what I should do, or who to tell. But that's when I finally got it. You guys were all there for me, to teach me what's really important. I just had to open up and listen.
In other words, if you let the big picture stuff get you all muddled up inside, you'll begin to lose sight of what you really care about. Yeah, I think you're right.
The thing that's most important, what I really care about. All I want to do is protect the people that really matter to me, to fight for them. That's good enough, right?
Yeah, with the amount of mystic
Not
arts you
everyone
do.
is strong enough to fight.
Jesus.
Huh?
It's something your dad told me once when he was still alive. Law, you know you're strong enough to fight, and you're strong enough to protect the people you care about. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of what you want to protect in the first place. Sound good?
Yeah, I think it does. It's like a big weight's been lifted off my shoulders.
Mom and dad
I'll
are the
fight to
group.
protect the people around me. Just like I always have. I think that's best.
Okay, just have a quick look at the chat. Star won't be satisfied until... Okay, all the comments about me towards Alphen and Shionne. Yes, yes, yes. And to be fair, for me, the minimum I want is for them to at least have a confession. And preferably, I think it'd be really cute to see them get married. I don't need to see the in-depth things that would happen on their own. They can do that away from the screen. But give me the nice, cute things after all the times the game is cooked. And I love that Law Moon said the same thing about Mystic Arts. Law is one hell of a drug when it comes to Mystic Art abuse. Already talked to all of them. Okay. Let's have a nice chat, Kisara.
Oh, it's you two. Does he seem like he's doing any better now?
Nah, you're worried about Dohalim.
Oh, you mean Dohalim, don't you?
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all, but he looked like he was taking it really hard earlier.
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renans and the Great Spirit and all that?
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, the Great Spirit is like a huge natural disaster, but with a mind and will of its own.
How would we even
But if
fight
that
it?
thing's hellbent on trying to destroy our planet, then the only thing left for us to do is stop it. As for the Renans, I suppose my feelings on that are a bit more mixed.
How so?
Coexistence between Danans and Renans in Menancia is still a work in progress. In my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still on guard around Renans. So, to be told that they're like us, that they're actually just like us is, well, I guess it's a little deflating, to be honest.
You kept a pretty level head.
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helganquil and the Great Spirit are the ones who are responsible.
Yep.
But at the same time, I realize that not every Danan is necessarily going to believe that either.
Yep.
I know you're already aware of this, but the list of grievances the Danans have against the Renans is long, and understandably so. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same, yeah, I don't think they're going to take to it too kindly.
Even just among the Danans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge with power and some who won't.
The Renans are gonna be pissed off.
I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance,
It's not
then
just
we'll
the
be in a
Danans.
truly good place.
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do about the existing conflicts we have.
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people could learn to get past their hatred like Rinwell did.
Yes.
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen and ask people to forget their very real pain and suffering.
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. But if we just keep yelling at each other about it, we'll never move on. In a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even more people getting killed.
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not just that, but to also embrace each other's pain in a sense.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
We gotta learn
It's
to not be
true.
racist.
Everybody has their own scars, their own trauma. The first step to healing those wounds is to put aside that hatred. It won't be achieved through reasoning, but I think it's a good first step, if nothing else. And now, I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need to make sure our planet isn't going to get wiped out.
No worries, Gabe. You could just
Well,
follow the. Oh,
It sounds like everyone's learning from their past
One
and
sec.
using it to create a better future for everyone.
What about you, Shionne? How do you feel about the origin of the Renans?
I've
To
phones.
be honest, I'm not really all that shocked, actually. I mean, I might be a Renan in the literal sense, but I've never really felt like one of them. Right now, it's kind of a mystery.
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, all I ever thought about was how I was going to die. Not if or when, but how. I thought I'd die alone. That fate had me in its steely grip. I would have never imagined that I'd be traveling with someone like you, fighting to save Rena and Dana. I mean, how could I have? It's been going on for 300 years. All this tragedy and destruction. When you consider the Helganquil's part in all this, it's been even longer than that. It was Naori's hope that somehow, someone in the future would be able to stop it, before it was too late.
I wonder how much she knew.
How it fell on us, of all people, to heed that call, is a mystery.
I don't think Naori was hoping that we would just stop the world from getting destroyed. She considered me, a Danan, as a real person. And she very much cherished her own people, too. I don't think she wanted the world to be saved, just so they could go back to hurting each other. Oh, Maybe this is what she meant.
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, about all that stuff like everyone's needing to meet halfway and embrace each other's pain and suffering. She said that the first step down that path was for each of us to put aside our own hatred. That means forgiving other people, even and especially before they forgive you.
Forgiving. So it goes both ways, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I don't just mean forgiving things that happened in the past either. Conflicts will keep happening. If we have any hope of moving on and building a better future, we have to all learn to forgive each other.
You know, you're right. People can hurt one another without even meaning to. I know that better than most, thanks to these thorns.
It's not going to be easy getting past this pain. But if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when we can all truly understand each other.
People don't do that in our
with
world.
you, Shionne. I too want to protect the world we live in, and all the people we care about. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori for everything that she did.
Yeah. I want a future that she would feel proud to live in, and I'm going to fight for it.
Whoa there, Savior Girl. We're here to save you too, you know.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I want to live, and that's the honest truth.
Ooh. Game, can I have the opportunity to talk, or are you gonna give me another cutscene? Like, I don't want to block over the game. There it is.
Is everybody ready to do what needs to be done?
I am. There's a lot to think about, but at the end of the day, Dan is still in danger. I don't care who we're up against. We'll kick their ass.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know what's on your mind, too.
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on Rena, then so be it. It's trying to rob us of our entire world, and it's going to take not just our home, but all of existence along with it. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to be tied to us saving Shionne.
The most important thing.
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in Lenegis, I take it?
Yeah. 3 centuries ago, the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony showed Naori that vision. And to hear Shionne tell it, it's the same one that she sees from her own thorns as well.
Indeed. Shionne's thorns are comprised of dark astral energy, the one type which we know is native only to Rena. And if Rena's great spirit is what's behind Dana's pending destruction, then...
Shionne's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least, though, I think it's possible her thorns are a part of the Great Spirit.
While the main body resides in Rena.
Shionne.
It's a logical conclusion.
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's great spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a piece of my mind and then some.
How the hell are we gonna kill a spirit, well, a body of astral energy?
The question is, how do we confront it? Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of Rena is enormous, large enough to house the will of an entire planet. The Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome in their own right. This is an altogether greater challenge for merely 6.
And we only know about the Thorns connection thanks to Naori.
Hevric 35 has been observing the Great Astral Spirit this whole time. It wouldn't ask us to fight it unless it has a plan of some sort. Let's go see what that is.
Are you gonna let me actually... Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Our minds are made up. Let's go give Hevrek 35 our answer.
Okay. What I was gonna say are the people in this game going to follow the same direction our people do about anything related to racism? We make one word unable to be said, and we constantly avoid learning from the past, and instead think that censorship of certain language is going to fix it. And then in some cases, when it comes to other issues, by prioritizing one set of people's views above the others, like when it comes to feminism. I think that's definitely gonna fix the problem. Don't know about you guys. Like, real people haven't learnt these lessons. It's so funny that the game, like, I completely get the message behind the game, and I think it's a really good message. It's just I don't think most people who play this game are gonna take that message on board. And that's sad, because that says a lot about us as people. They're just gonna be like, ooh, story from a game. It's like, no, it has actual significance to our own shit history, and, you know, the thing that most people avoid learning about, for one, which is stupid. Interesting fact, I think this is the first Tales antagonist that is a force of nature, not a person. It's interesting because I don't know if that's fully the case or not, because in a way, I'd say Tales of Symphonia 2, as much as that is the black sheep of the family and people don't like it, there's definitely kind of like an element to it that was of nature. Ratatosk was connected to functionality in the world. And then there's obviously Lambda too, but they've ignored it thus far. Why would people start paying attention now? Yeah, precisely. People suck.
So if the Sovereign and Maiden were originally boot-up programs for Lenegis, what about now?
Even with the Forbidden Zone in ruins and the Renaissance stolen, Lenegis is functioning fine. If it needed us before, it doesn't appear to now.
First they lumber you with a position you never asked for, then you're discarded like you're nothing? Who the hell do they think they are?
More importantly, who do they think we are? We might not even factor into their list of concerns.
I just hope everyone on Lenegis is safe.
Worst comes to worst, Lenegis is equipped with a large number of starships that people can escape in. As long as the whole satellite doesn't suddenly explode or something, they should be fine.
Wait, explode?
In any case, if we're truly going to make a difference, it's on Rena we're needed, not Lenegis. The people there will be fine, I'm sure of it.
Right.
It's like, for me, I get the point of why I think it's kind of a meh thing that they're making a point of racism as the message of the game. I think that there's ways that this could have been integrated better, but I also do think that the game has overall come out quite damn good, and I do enjoy it. It's just, I agree that it's one of those storylines that people use, and it kind of feels... It's kind of like when people try and shove in the idea of same-sex coupling into any form of media to look progressive. To me, this is an example of good use of a subject matter like this. Meanwhile, there's so many bad ones that use racism as the cop-out to show moral high ground instead of trying to teach people. Meanwhile, this kind of is teaching people. It's just... is the audience intelligent enough to pick up on the message and to actually take it on board? I think it really depends on the people involved, and that's the part that's iffy to me. Because you'll obviously get the people who just think, ooh, look, pretty game, ooh, this is fun to play, and they just completely ignore the message. I'm like, oh, look, we've got to kill this entity now. Who cares about the reason why all of these events happened? We've got to kill the big boss and finish. Don't say anything spoilery, like don't even allude to anything spoilery, please. Let's have a nice old chat with this bugger. Hey, buddy. When are you dying?
Do you have your answer for me?
We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. How exactly do you expect us to do that?
Thank you.
You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated.
And
Therefore, if you destroy the core, the great spirit shall become unable to maintain sentience and return to being ordinary astral energy.
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Rena's Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling astral energy. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the Sovereign shall wield the power of the Rena's Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Shionne described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
By my calculations, your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the Maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
Eat shit.
This method is the most simple one available to destroy the Great Spirit, and is therefore our most reliable option.
Nah,
what are our other options?
World can end. Screw it.
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so clear.
You don't get it. I promised Shionne that she wouldn't die, that we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great Spirit, I want to hear it.
This plan shall lead to the fewest losses in preserving your world. Abandoning it is irrational. It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena's great astral spirit already resides within her. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis correct.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the great astral spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile, and will only serve to strengthen it.
No.
The music.
Naori said that the Rena's Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns can be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Rena's Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the great astral spirit.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony, considering that the Rena's Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed. I cannot allow it. Its uncertainty is simply too great.
What does that mean for us if you won't allow it?
Your starship will not be restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Why you?
Fine then. I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alphen?
We're all dead. Sweet.
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dana's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dana from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alphen.
Attaboy.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
Good.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Rena's Alma are my species' greatest achievement. I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by its hands.
But what are we supposed to do about the Renis Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegis.
It is likely that the Renis Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dana's astral energy.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great Spirit and take it back?
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely concentrated in the center of Rena, where the Great Spirit's core is located.
So right in the middle of that giant flower, then.
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already integrated with the planet. What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario, the energy will disperse, and the Great Spirit will likely not reform.
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is recommended that you all escape before the final stage.
Man, I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for once.
Well, it just
Everett
did.
35 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar, is all.
Let's bloody go.
Fix our starship. We're going to Rena.
How long do you have
Excellent.
left?
But I want to make one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for your sake, or because you told us to. Remember that.
It matters little to me. The end result shall be the same.
Nah.
Repair work on your starship has commenced. You'll have to wait until it's finished.
Deal.
Man, is it too much to ask for Everett 35 to talk like a normal person? I swear I can feel my brain starting to fry after listening to all that complicated stuff.
Don't
That's
worry.
not a shock.
I think
You're a
we're
bit
mostly
dumb,
done with
Law,
him.
but we love you anyway.
Now all we have to do is rest up and wait. Once the Fall Knights is good to go again, we'll be taking off for Rena right away. Is the Renis Alma really our only hope against the Great Spirit? There has to be another way, right?
Shionne's Fire Master Core was able to suppress astral energy to prevent it from gaining sentience, right? Couldn't we make use of that somehow?
I'm not sure. In small doses, maybe. And with the amount of energy we're talking about here.
Back in Calaglia, the Blazing Sword was able to take in a whole spirit vessel's worth of energy. If it has the capacity to manage that, it can do this, right?
Except after it absorbed the energy, it ended up releasing it all moments later, remember? Let's not forget, it nearly killed you. Besides, this is the Great Spirit we're talking about, not a paltry vessel. Even if I could use the Master Core, your body wouldn't be able to take the strain of channeling that much energy.
Hevrect 35 didn't mention it, and it did not seem the type to skimp on details. So assuming it's even possible, the chances are slim to none.
You're probably right.
You think if it could do it the cheaper way, it wouldn't? Who would waste resources without good reason? Oh, what the hell do you want? It'll take some time to completely repair your starship. I suggest you all get some rest in the interim. Yes. I'm gonna have to edit the name of this Let's Play episode. Oh, hi. How you doing, Dohalim?
You still thinking about what the scientists told us? About where Renans really come from?
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Danans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head-on, don't you?
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living, and not the dead. Even as I dream of retirement, I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when I hated Renans for who they were. I hated them just for being Renan. But you changed that, Dohalim. You gave me an opportunity to see them in a different light. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves, but as equals for the first time in our lives. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or bad, just like Danans.
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can relate to.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers of Renans and Danans
Mods,
alike.
get rid of the comments that are alluding to what's coming,
speaking,
please.
Surely they won't all be able to get
along. I don't enjoy that. It's backseat.
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find better luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more? That's the ideal future you hope to see when this is all over?
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost. Do you still plan to return to Lenegis when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegis proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
Ooh.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come get me. I'll always be there for you, Doe.
Duh.
Did you just... Never mind. Thank you, Kisara. I appreciate your patience as I work all this out.
Don't even mention it. And really, when you think about it, now that we know the two of us aren't so different after all, don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know, I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. But I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
You can start by helping him learn how to dress himself and wash his clothes and items. And oh, okay. Oh, yes, we're gonna get Shionne and Alphen.
Why'd you call me here? Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Well, if everything we've heard about the Great Spirit is true, then we're getting close to our final battle. So I wanted to apologize while I can.
To who?
Apologize? For what?
Huh, really?
I was being real stupid before. About whether Dana's will had been controlling us and all that.
No, it wasn't. It was logical.
I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was being questioned. So, I'm sorry, Rinwell. Really. I should have kept my mouth shut.
No, it's the one time you were logical for the right reason.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have been onto something. Of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible force pulling our strings this whole time?
But you really trust Dana's will, don't you? Is it because you can sense it a lot more than the rest of us? Because you can understand it?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But I think I also want to believe it's good.
Believe?
Remember how I used to really resent coming from a family of mages?
Yeah, of course. Because you were always on the run and had to live in hiding.
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to come along with you all, something changed inside me. It was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning, even if that meaning was only helping you guys fight. Then, when I felt Dana's will, I was overwhelmed by how vast and warm it was. It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it. It made me believe I had a bigger purpose.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost need it to be kind.
No.
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
There's no way for me to know for sure one way or the other, right? But you trust it, Rinwell, and that's enough for me.
Good boy.
So I'll trust it because you do.
Attaboy.
Remember what I said about neither planet's great spirit reaching us here?
Yeah?
That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside you and everyone else.
You... what?
I sensed it when we first got here. It's a really small amount, so it doesn't feel like it has a will of its own. But I think that's how Dana's energy probably is too.
So you're saying there's a little bit of Dana's will inside each of us?
Just said Rena.
In a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dana's will?
What?
Well, like you said, unless Dana's energy comes together, it has no will. So if we all have a little bit of Dana's astral energy inside us...
Yeah, maybe...
Everett 35 might know the answer. But, you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own. I fight for who I want to fight for. That's who I am now. Who I've become.
Doesn't matter if there's invisible strings, mate.
So thanks, Rinwell, for sharing that with me.
No.
Ah.
To be fair, these two have a very good dynamic. I got
To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dana's will, well, I mean, it mostly was... I feel like you and I had grown apart lately.
Ooh.
And I was worried it was because...
Huh?
Never mind. Nothing. Just forget about it.
Huh? No, what were you saying?
Saying? I don't remember
Come
saying
on.
anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were thinking?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Then spit it out already.
This is direct. Come on, give me Shionne and Alphen, and if you don't, I'm gonna be actually very upset. Come on. There's the giant flower.
You sure you don't want to get some rest?
Yes. Yes.
I can't. I've got too much on my mind. Especially knowing how close our last battle is. How are you doing, Shionne?
Same as you, still trying to absorb everything.
Remember when it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dana?
Big flower.
Although that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Ages and ages ago. Everything that's happened since we first met. So many fights, so much chaos, so many wonderful people.
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing sword or looked for something more. I wouldn't have my memories back. I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
Hey, Alphen. I want you to promise me something.
Oh?
Yeah?
If we can't find the Rena's Alma, there's something I want you to do.
Don't you dare say kill me. Don't you fucking dare.
Like Hevrecht 35 said, the only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after both the main body in Rena and the thorns in me. I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if for some reason we can't get the Rena's Alma back, you'll use the blazing sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it.
God damn it, stop it. Bad.
It's true the blazing sword may not have the strength of the Rena's Alma. But it's taken us this far. It's slain lords and beasts. At the very least, it has to be worth a try.
Who fucking cares? Let the world end. Doesn't matter.
Serious? Have you forgotten everything
Listen,
that we...
the Great Spirit isn't just our problem.
And?
It's a threat to our entire world. Renans and Danans alike.
And fuck them.
We don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need to be prepared for anything. We can't second-guess ourselves when the time comes.
The music.
I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm prepared to fight with absolutely everything I've got.
Then no need for that promise.
But if it comes down to it, I need you to be prepared too.
Refuse.
Okay.
Damn it. Shouldn't even be considered.
But you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Shionne. I'm going to fight this until the very end. I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen. Okay, I understand. And I'll forgive you.
Come on,
Thank you, Shionne.
please.
So it's a promise then?
Yeah, it's a promise.
Come on. Oh, her expression, damn it. Come on.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me.
Hmm?
My thorns made any
His expression.
contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. After they'd seen what could happen, fear would always linger behind their eyes. In my entire life, I never had someone willingly reach out to me. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, you didn't react at all. It was so easy for you.
Because he couldn't feel it.
I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Yep, there we go.
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, I felt this warmth that I had never known before.
Yes. Oh. Oh, fucking damn it.
But still, I hate having to see you suffer through it every time you do.
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
Damn right.
You think so?
I do, because Shionne.
Do it. No!
No. You can tell me once my thorns are gone.
Okay. Game.
Yeah. Okay.
Fuck you, game. It can wait till after the final boss. Fuck you. That was a cook. That's too unfair.
Everybody get enough rest? We ready for this?
Yeah, We should probably get moving.
Agreed. Can't stand around waiting all day.
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only descend down to Rena, defeat the Great Spirit, and restore stability to both worlds.
We're fighting for a new future for both Dana and Rena.
Right. We've come this far. We will save our worlds. That's a promise.
Then let's go, everybody. We've got one last wall to tear down.
Repairs on your starship are complete. Everything is in working order.
Is that you, Hevrek 35? You can see us from where you are?
I can. I can see anywhere within the bounds of Dake Faisal.
Sounds like someone's a peeping Tom.
Maybe we should give Hevrek 35 a break. It has been stuck in this tiny facility for a very, very long time.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship. You can now make use of its warp drive.
Warp drive? Wait, you mean like what the Red Women used on us? What brought us here?
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on the starship. They are Helganquil, after all.
Using the warp drive, you should be able to breach Rena's atmosphere without being detected.
Wait, should?
You'll need to be careful. Due to the force field surrounding Rena, the ship will be unable to go any further than the surface of the planet.
So, once we reach the shell, it appears we'll have to infiltrate the core by foot. Understood.
We gotta go all the way down just walking?
Yeah, that'd take ages.
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit? I have a strange feeling we're going to have to fight them before this is all over.
The extinction of my people is inevitable at this stage.
Ugh.
As such, it would be illogical to risk the success of the mission in a vain attempt to save my kind.
We understand.
Can't that thing lighten up a bit? Everything it says seems to be about what's illogical.
Well, come on, Doe.
No, you just calling him.
Hold up, did you just...
You heard the lady. Get going.
I have one last question.
Okay.
What?
As Sovereign, your identification number indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy. Similarly, the Maiden lacks any identification number, as her function should have been rendered unnecessary. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist. Why?
Interesting.
We exist because others have entrusted this to us. Over the years, many people have come together and sworn to see this through to the end.
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? The likelihood of such events is statistically improbable. Why have you two continued to persist under these conditions?
It's hard to explain. To be honest, I don't think it's something an observer could understand. All right, time to get back on the Fall Knights.
It's like salt. The expiry date don't mean much. Pretty much, yeah. Damn. Okay, the game cooked me. They were giving me what I wanted and then showed me the middle finger, and I don't appreciate that, but it just is what it is. Oh, that stings. That stung real hard. God damn it, game. Also, I hope that no one, like, took offense to me saying to get rid of any comments that were hinting towards anything that was going to happen in the cutscenes. Just because I just don't enjoy backseat gaming, and it ruins the surprise if I pay attention to the chat and see any insinuations towards what's going to happen. Like, I didn't really read it. I saw, like, a brief glimmer of, like, what was upcoming, and then I looked away and said what I said. So I'm not upset or anything. I'm just... hopefully it doesn't come across that I actually was upset or angry. It's just kind of like a moment of, okay, just do this, please. Thank you, mods, for handling it as well. it makes it convenient because obviously there's no way for me to handle it midstream unless I actually pay attention to the comments, which would mean I'd be spoiled. If anything, I should apologize. No! You've got nothing to apologize for. It just simply is what it is. Just I'd appreciate if you guys don't mention things that are upcoming before they happen. It's like if I'm gonna be doing something and I'm like right on the cusp of something happening, don't say what it is. Guesses are fine because, you know, that's being in the same state as me where you don't know what's going on, but actual direct information on what's coming is a bit unfair. The Great Spirit is blue-balling Alphen and Shionne while Dana's will is trying to make every ship set sail. I think Dana's will is trying to even help those two, but god damn it, Shionne. Let him say it. You know what? She had no reason to stop him from saying it. I get it would be a nice thing for victory, but you want to know what could also happen after that? Something actually official from coming from it. A standard, like, she knows what he was going to say, so she may as well have just let him. And I hate the game addresses the idea that, hey, you know, she might die anyway if you guys fail, and I hope that the game's not going to be that much of a dick and be like, you know what, you know, after all the time you spent trying to save Shionne, well, you're not going to manage it, you're going to have to kill her anyway and break that promise. And follow through with her other promise on the idea of, hey, if it doesn't work, kill me. No. I would rather see this game end with the world's ending than see Shionne killed to save it, because, you know, the people who are willing to fight for the sake of the entire world and are willing to sacrifice themselves for it, they're better than the people that are probably living on the planet. Unless it's executed very well, it sort of invalidates a lot of the game, assuming they do kill her. Yeah, exactly. Game, remember every ending from Celia 2 onwards? Gotta keep you on the edge of your seat. That's a valid point, I guess. That's why the developers were aware. The thing is, it doesn't keep me on the edge of my seat because I really don't think that the devs will be able to pull off the same thing as other developers. Like, if we're talking about story writers who really can just cook us completely and be like, you want a shit ending to a game? Here you go. That'd be Yoko Taro. And this ain't Yoko Taro, I refuse. This isn't a Yoko Taro game, so we should be safe from emotionally devastating ending. I don't think it makes us safe, but I don't think it's going to be as terrible as what tends to happen within Yoko Taro stories. Or other developers. Like, normally when you have a reputation for being able to pull off very deep, meaningful stories and endings that aren't happy, / conclusions that are fulfilling, but not the ones that you actually hope for. Like, you're able to persist that through your franchise, through your series. Meanwhile, with Tales, I don't think they can get away with that, because Tales does have a... I want to say reputation, but I don't know if reputation is the right word. I'd say standard, maybe? Standard might be a better word. So the games do tend to have quite happy endings. I say happy in the context of both the game world and for the characters. So I don't think there's many series that don't. Are there many series I can think of off the top of my head that actively fuck over any form of happy ending for the character? Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, thanks for that affirmation. But yeah, I don't think Tales of Arise is going to end in like the shittest way it could by being like, you know what, you can't save Shionne, either kill her or everything ends. Kingdom Hearts, near Tales. Tales ends in a good way, though. I don't think Tales is actively, like, unless Berseria is one that did fuck over its cast, which I have no way of knowing because I haven't played it, and don't spoil that because there's a chance I might stream it. Tales doesn't really do that. Here's how they end this game the worst possible way. I'm not reading that ship. That ship is not a thing, and that's grim. How dare you? That's awful. Alternative ending, we just stay at this place and continue the population here. That's a very small population. A very small amount of genetics to fuel what is meant to be the human race. Like, realistically they can. Just unfortunately down the road it'd lead to a lot of genetic flaws. We know that sickness is more common. We see it in dogs and we see it in the royals in our world. That's horrible. I shouldn't have said that, but it's true, and it's awful, but it is true. When bloodlines are repeated too much, it really does create a lot of issues with offspring and eventually leads to deformities, which is not a good move. Negative mutations, wonderful. That's definitely what we seek in a population. Let's make all of them fucked up. Maybe it'll be like Twoey, and a midget gremlin will appear to make everything, to mess everything up. Maybe. Yeah, does the red woman count? Does the red woman count? Because there's a chance that's already happened. And it's a gremlin in a weird sense. Its real form is not small, but it's inhuman. Well, actually, no, yeah, it's inhuman. It's not Homo sapien, but it's definitely a species that is humanoid, that is the equivalent of a human on its own world. But anyway, hopefully you guys don't mind me stopping at this point, just because it's getting kind of late here. And I don't think I'll be able to stream tomorrow, only because of real life stuff. Halverick 25. What am I? Chop meat? Well, it's dying. I mean, they can genetically engineer humans. They could potentially continue the population. They can, but at the same time, it still wouldn't fix the issue of limited gene pool. That would mean you'd have to rely on technology to continue a species, because there'd be no way for the species to naturally reproduce without causing deformities, and if anything, it'd make the problem even worse, because the same genes would be getting repeated over and over again in all of the basically clones, or even, you know, test tube offspring that are being created. It's still the same genetics being thrown around in a tight space. There's not enough diversity that it exists. Like, there's a reason why within real life incest is not legal in more space. In, I'd like to say every country and every space in the world, but we know that that's not true, but in most it is. And it's because of all the issues it can cause. Unfortunately, as much as I wish it was the case, it's not for the fact it's morally abhorrent. It's because of genetic issues. That's the only reason it's probably illegal. And while I don't think that's a good reason, and I think it should be because of morals, humanity doesn't seem to agree, and that's why it's legal in places. Yay! Our awful species over certain decisions. The ones that make my skin crawl. So I just don't see them staying on this space as a good move. It'd ultimately lead to the decline of the entire species. We are a wonderful species. For fucking things up, yeah, we are. That never do anything wrong. Yeah, never do anything wrong. Cuban Missile Crisis, Vietnam War, World War I and II. a history of slavery, sexism, which is less of a problem now, but historically was. We've never done anything wrong. Afghanistan's occupation. Yep. It's just a lovely species. It's just funny to me, because I do think that this game is a good example of them trying to pull on an actual way to develop on the idea of giving people something to take from why we should be against racism. Just I don't think a lot of the audience is going to read into that, and that's the bad part. Even though it's very significant to the plot, we know a lot of people play games for escapism. The moment that they see a real life issue appear in a game, they're going to intentionally ignore it if they're trying to escape from real life. Meaning they won't make the comparison, whether it's because of intellect or because of intentionally being arrogant. And at the same time, I do think in a way that video games aren't really the space to try and teach people on behaviors they should exhibit in real life and try to make people less jaded on their views, because the point of the medium is for enjoyment. It is an entertainment medium rather than an educational one. It's a very iffy position, because while I do think that the plot is done very well, I don't know if this is the medium for the story that's being told. But at the same time, that's the question for every kind of medium and what subject matter is being covered. How would you dictate that it's the appropriate one? Because this is a way to get people to actively engage with these issues. But at the same time, I do think that certain things should be off-topic to interact with within video games. I think it's a 50 out of 500 rule, which suggests that a minimum population size of 50 was necessary to combat inbreeding. Yeah, but the thing is, there isn't 50 humans in this place. Not 50 unique ones. There doesn't seem to be. It seems to be around 20 people already here, maybe 30 at most, and then there's our characters as well. And that would mean that everyone would have to, it depend on the amount of female to male ratio, because for breeding you don't need as many males as females to safely ensure diversity in a species. There's a reason why male animals tend to have harems. You do not need that much diversity in the amount of males unless they're directly related to females that exist. Symphonia kinda did the same, you could say, to educate younger people, but this game was marketed towards young adults. Yeah, and I think it's a good move that it is marketed specifically towards people who can understand the plot. God, my brain just farted on that word. I mean, they could go back to Dana and get more people. How many people could this place sufficiently maintain? We'll use the word maintain because my brain is just like starting to lose track of words, which is a good sign. How many people could it supply for? How much food is available? How much water, because water is essential. It's mentioned that these people keep having to be put to sleep, meaning there has to be enough pods to put them all to sleep in. I don't think the human race could survive on this place. And we need to keep in mind as well, you say that we should be able to go back and get more Danans and Renans. The idea of them using this place to repopulate the human species is because both of those planets cease to exist. Statistically also, population increases, so how would you increase the size of a space station to accommodate for more people? Exactly. It's like, we need to keep in mind there wouldn't be any more Danans and Renans that you'd be able to get in to consistently let the species flourish diversely enough to avoid issues. Because both Dana and Rena, if we go for like the worst ending of this game, both will cease to exist. Also, people in the station are the same that boarded centuries ago. Yeah, but they've been put in stasis. We don't know exactly how old they are, but we know they physically are not aging because they're putting themselves to sleep over mass periods of time. The only one who seems to be awake through it all is the Overseer. He's the only one who's been conscious throughout the entire period, it seems, and he's on his way out. He's gonna die soon. So it's just looking like... I don't think the game can pull off its worst possible ending without ceasing. They'd have to basically explain what happens with Nia, that humanity ceased to exist and the planet either no longer exists entirely or is completely uninhabitable. It's not meant for housing. Yeah, it's not. That's why they keep putting themselves to sleep. They keep going into pods and knocking themselves out for like a good chunk of time so they can be alive to witness what's going to happen. The thing I'm curious on is what the hell are these people going to do when the Great Will is maybe dealt with? Would they just stay up there or would they eventually come back? If we find a planet, actually getting there would be an even bigger challenge. The thing is, it's funny, because how would we test exactly? I know that obviously scientifically we can get results that give us an idea of what would be inhabitable, but the only way you'd know for certain that a place would be inhabitable is by sending humans there and testing. You can simulate the idea within a computer or within a limited space, but that doesn't equate to how well people would actually adjust when there. I think worst case scenario they're trying to play up is not the extinction, but killing Shionne. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I would rather see the entire game end with everything ending, with the will actually getting its way, than us killing Shionne to stop it. But I'd also rather we kill the will only and save Shionne be the ideal ending. Belief can only be stretched so far before it breaks down. I don't think the developers thought about humanity's extinction. I meant to try and amplify that the worst case scenario would be Shionne dying, but the minimum population size is an interesting topic. That's why I'm discussing it, because it is an interesting topic. Just at the same time, it's like, I'd like to think that the game's not going to do that course of action, because realistically, it'd be strange for the Tales series, but at the same time, Tales hasn't released a game in a while. But Tales of Vesperia, who are apparently the team that did Tales of Arise 2 now, their game did not end badly, I will say that much. I think Tales of Vesperia actually got one of the best endings in the Tales series, in my opinion. For like, on the character's perspective, not on like the entire world's perspective. But even then, the world of Tales of Vesperia ended up doing very bloody well within its ending. Hell, it was more efficient than it was at the game's start. And we managed to save Astral, who... like, she was meant to be a conduit for the doom of the world by using arts without any consequence, without apatheia, which is used from creatures that were being killed, that naturally helped the world by existing and ran with the ecosystem as equals. She ended up being able to live a normal life A new formula was created to enable her to use art still without causing more problems. If they could afford to drift off without resources from Dana, or they could search for other worlds. My only issue with Vesperia's plot is Duke, Astral villain, the rest is fantastic. I both see that point, and I also I see what the purpose of Duke is. I just wish that if they were going to make a point of him so much, that we learn even more about him than we did in the game. I'm someone who, I'm pretty sure I managed to get every single trophy in that game on Xbox. Meaning, I did all of the content in the game. And I'm pretty sure I did all side quests. I'm pretty sure you had to do all side quests for all the trophies in the game. It had to be 100% completion. Oh yeah, that's the point I'm making. I think that Duke would work, he works, but if they built him up more within the writing instead of having him very abruptly show up, then I feel like it would be a lot better and it'd feel less like an arsehole. Either this game has a good ending, or we'll have to play Scarlet Nexus to see the other half of Vesperia's team if this ending is there. I've not played Scarlet Nexus. I've heard about it, kind of. I know near nothing about it, I just know the name. I'm gonna have to rename this stream. I have no idea what the hell I'm gonna name it. I want to make it funny and be like, oh, I got cooked again, but at the same time, that'd ruin the surprise in this stream. The plot is something. Characters are something. That bodes well. I'll take it that I don't need to ever stream it then. That works. The only thing I was sad about with Vesperia is Jaeger's death. Loved the guy, loved the accent and all. Jaeger was good, just at the same time his death I do think held some amount of meaning. And honestly, I feel like when you do enough wrong with anything, like we're talking either media or real life, you're eventually bound to get your comeuppance. He did some things right in his life, but he also did a lot of wrong things. Title suggestion. Exposition movie. Yeah, that works. That works. It was necessary, but it means I don't get to hear the funny voice anymore. Fair. Oh my god, my back. My posture while sitting here has probably not been fantastic. My back is not happy with me. Alright. The moment I sit up, it's just like, yeah, no. So much plot. I'll definitely go with one of the titles. I'd say Exposition movie or the plot work the best. Just because they're short and to the point and explain exactly what happened. But oh my god, I'm so upset still at being cooked. So much lore. Yeah, that was a lot of lore. I'm very happy with it though. Scarlet Nexus starts strong, but halfway you either hate the story and cast or tolerate them. Well, that bodes incredibly well for that experience. I'm glad I've never spent money on it. fun fact, Yakuza 3's remaster changed the chapter's name to The Plot when it was originally called The Ruse due to the amount of plot/exposition dropped in that chapter. That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. You know, IGN saying that the plot was good might have been a warning sign. You can't spell ignorance without IGN. I feel so awkward about IGN now. I remember when I was younger, I remember IGN actually seemed like a good source for information and for reviews, but now I don't think I've had anything good to say about IGN for years. Absolutely ages. Rename the entirety of 13 Sentinels to The Plot. Real? Can't spell. Yeah. It's a shame though, because when you have good memories of company or something that contributes towards your gaming experience, like I think back, like one of the very first posts I made publicly online was on IGN, which is really funny. Like back when you could actually sign up and make little blog posts for it. I'm pretty sure you still probably can do that. Fuck knows what my account details would have been though. It would have been on the old emails that I had when I was a kid. Ugh. God, that's thinking back a lot of years. Ugh. So it's just weird to see how far it's gone downhill. I'd say that in general, I'm sure that they can probably crank out some okay reviews, but I feel like for JRPGs, they just don't. They're awful when it comes to reviewing over anything that's not mainstream. They don't get people who care about the series. My first posts were on GameFAQs. I know your pin. I think I used GameFAQs, but I don't think I ever had an account for it. And then something... And then something awful as well. Something awful was something else I used for Danganronpa specifically. I mentioned that before in one of my other videos. I still do use GameFAQs. GameFAQs is useful, I just don't have any account on it. Like, I've seen information for it when it came to, what is it? I think it was Tales of Symphonia, trying to get certain information on quests. GameFAQs is fine if you need walkthroughs, just stay away from the forums. Yeah, probably. That goes for anything now, though. I feel like forums are just asking for trouble in most cases. Learn to kill the secret boss in 2 minutes. Jesus Christ. Valid. Anyway, sorry to chat you guys' ears off. I'm probably gonna call it now. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you all being here. And if you haven't already, I'd appreciate if you liked and subscribed. The link to the channel Discord server is in the description. That's where I tend to notify about stream times, and it's where we just tend to talk about games when we're all in the mood to have a chat. So, have a good night, morning, day, whatever time it is wherever you guys are in the world, and take care of yourselves. I won't be streaming tomorrow, only because the next day I'm going to have to travel, so I'll need to be up quite early, and streams continue until kind of late for me. But the next day, hopefully, I should be able to, depending on what goes on. I'll notify about it on Discord either way, so you'll find out. Take care, everyone. Thank you again.